Welcome back, Strongman fans, and this is my first ever Arnold Sports Festival and Strongman Classic review video. The event happened just over 3 weeks ago. As we know, it was on Friday the 7th and 8th of March, and I'm going to be covering today the men's to start off. The women's I've got on a separate video with some of the also the world record breakers that were hosted. But yeah, we're going to focus now on the events 1 to 5 today, on obviously what went down. My best my best lifts I thought from the day, for some athletes that were surprising and also others we expected as well. So event 1 was the double T squat, and it's the first time actually the athletes have opened up with a squat event, and more than likely the reason being is it takes bloody ages to get set up, and obviously some athletes are taking ridiculous breaks in between because of the amount of time it takes to wrap. They're obviously wearing wraps and suited and belted up naturally because the weights they're lifting were absolutely ridiculous. But I'll be honest with you, I'm really happy to see a squat event in Strongman, because the squat is one of the most ultimate feats of strength in terms of testing someone's overall static strength, and a favourite of my own, a compound movement. It really does test you to the core. Now, I've just shown you 2 of Rob's actual lifts, successful lifts, and he absolutely smashed it. Now, considering he's the lightest athlete at under 300 pounds, he did a successful lift of 901, 936, and 961 pounds. So he actually took the second place spot on the opening event, which is absolutely incredible for a lighter athlete. He's showing no signs of slowing down. You'll see how he does really well in the other events. So absolutely, massive congrats to Rob there, because he smashed it. So next up, I've chosen to go for the 4th place spot, which went to Bobby Thompson, the American Nightmare, who had some really impressive lifts. He opened of 831. Then he jumped right up to 901, so quite a big jump there. And then lastly, he got a successful 946 lift. So from all the lifts, I'll be honest with you, he could have easily done more. But I think, like him and other athletes, they're thinking, we've got 2 very hard days coming up, a lot of events, and don't want to blow ourselves out just on the max squat, because it's very draining. And for the first event, it's quite surprising. I mean, they had to put it first because there's no way they would have done it any other way. But irregardless, they've got to save some energy in the tank. So no one went for any world records. No one went to 1,000 pounds. You'll see, obviously, with JF who won it, he was close to it, but he didn't need to go any heavier because no one actually challenged him. The closest person to him was Rob with the 961. Martins did fantastic. As you see here, got a good lift. He opened at 901, then did 941, and then finished at 956. As we know, Martins, he's very tactical, stays within the top 3 to top 4 throughout most events, so he can always just be close to winning that event. Not going for world records, not trying to max out, not trying to show off, just be consistent and steady. But the real star of the show here was obviously JF, and that's why I've chosen to do a little bit more on him, because he actually took over an hour before he started. Everyone else had gone at least once or twice, or done all 3 events before he actually finally came out. He was the last athlete to come out. He'd waited over an hour, open on 916 after a 1 hour wait, then went to 951 and then 966. And, he could have easily done 1,000 pounds, and he said he felt he had it in him, but he didn't need to do it. No one challenged him for that, apart from Rob. I think if Rob had opened up a little bit higher and maybe Martins was trying to chase him down, we could have seen something a bit special, 1,000 pound squat or more, but it didn't happen. It didn't matter. JF really impressed us and absolutely smashed that. And remember, JF is like 39. So really, really impressive of him to start off with. Shame what happened in later events, as you'll soon find out if you're not aware what happened to him. I'm not going to discuss it just yet, but at the end of that, JF took first, Rob second, and Martins third, as you can see the points there. And there's the numbers again, the standings after the first event, with obviously Novikov in 5th. So event 2 was obviously the giant dumbbell for reps, or the monster dumbbell for reps. And this actually was 125 kilos. So incredible weight. As we know, Novikov was the favourite, and he didn't disappoint. He absolutely smashed it. The athletes had 90 seconds to complete as many reps as possible. As you can see quickly here, Novikov took the 1st place spot with Rob in 2nd and Martins in 3rd. And surprisingly, Evgeny Markov, a newcomer, he's gone from amateur to pro. He did pretty well with 3 reps as well. Overall, I will say Evgeny showed his lack of experience, and obviously I think he was a bit inexperienced with competing at that level because he made some mistakes, especially with the opening of the squats. He went too heavy too fast. But he's a newcomer. He's learning. We can't discredit him. He did okay, but this is probably the best he did out of all the events. So I've pulled up Tom's performance here, obviously the current world's strongest man, and only a week before this event he actually won Britain's strongest man for the first time. So Tom, he didn't have the best events, to be honest, over the course of the 2 days. He performed pretty poorly, to be honest. He did well on the squat, I will say. Obviously I didn't cover him, but he didn't do too bad there. But overall he did pretty bad, and a lot of the events just didn't work to him. And I think also maybe his body was a bit more tired than he actually thought initially for this competition. And unfortunately with this dumbbell press he didn't get any successful lifts. He managed to clean it up, but he was unsuccessful in even completing one rep. This was also Tom's first ever appearance as obviously a professional in Arnold Strongman Classic, and I think maybe nerves got the best of him, and also he knew he was against a formidable opponent, i.e. Martin Licis, who won the Rogue Invitational and beat Tom in that competition. And as we know, Martin's, due to injury, wasn't in the world's strongest man, so I think maybe Tom might have had a little bit of doubt there against the Dragon, but who knows. But fair play to Tom. He just won a competition and come straight into this one, and it's new to him. Challenging events, very heavy. This is probably the heaviest events in any strongman competition, in my opinion, and probably some of the hardest. So anyway, on to Rob Kearney. Now Rob absolutely smashed it. Like I mentioned previously, he managed to get 4 reps on his good arm, because as we know, he has that injury, the old injury from the past when he attempted that log press world record. So luckily for him, he's managed to really develop the other side of his body and still clean crazy weight. And this just proves how athletic and strong Rob is, to be able to use his weaker arm and still lift this weight and actually come second in the event, only to someone as impressive as Novikov with this is so credible. And Rob, he definitely surprised a lot of people and shut a lot of people up, and I think he is one who deserved to be on the podium. You'll find out obviously he doesn't, unfortunately, but he was actually winning at the end of the first 2 days based on the fact of how high he scored in the first 2 events. He coming second in both. It's an incredible achievement really to start off with. I pulled up Martin's as well. Martin's not a problem for him. I would say his reps didn't look as smooth and comfortable as Rob's and Novikov's, but nonetheless he still managed to get 3. But it was a questionable third. I don't personally feel that it was a good third rep, but nonetheless the ref there, he gave it to him and he got the down signal. So fair play to him. He still obviously did it. He bossed it and didn't have any major problems, but he's nowhere near the level of Novikov in this event, that's for sure. It would have been good to see, if we could have seen Matthias Kosowski in this one, because as we know, he has a world record in a monster dumbbell lift for 1 rep, but still, he, pre-injury, who knows what he could have done, or if he'd come into this event strong and ready for it, we might have seen him actually taking a second or first place spot. So let's hope we have someone like Kosowski challenge Novikov in the not so distant future. Fingers crossed he doesn't get injured further and have a permanent retirement, because it doesn't look great for Kosowski, in my opinion, at present. In terms of the scores, the other athletes, Trey got 0, Tom the same, Bobby 0. JF didn't even compete because he had a shoulder issue for that one. Maxime got 1. And like I said before, obviously, Markov got 3 reps. And here's the man of the moment for this event. This is the only event that Novikov actually won. So like I said, he got 7 reps in the time frame of 90 seconds. And, he absolutely bosses this event. His technique is flawless. He throws up that weight like it weighs nothing. Looks like a 30-kilo dumbbell to most people for him. It's just incredible what he's lifting. He's lifting a fully grown man, a very large man, may I add. And it's just flawless. It's just so impressive. And, all the other strongmen, they rate him clearly for this one, because they know what it takes to lift such an incredible amount of weight on one arm. As do I. My best so far, 62.5. Nowhere near this. It's literally half the weight. And that felt incredibly heavy. So well done, Novikov. Really glad that you obviously got this. And I know what's going on in Ukraine definitely pushed you and spurred you on for that. Because naturally, you just want to do your best for your fans and your home country. So there's the standings after event 2. Like I mentioned, Kearney is in the top spot after day 2, Novikov 2nd, and Licis 3rd. So quite interesting there. Going into day 2, sorry. So event 3 had the Austrian Open Max. So the guys all had 3 attempts at lifting the most weight they could with a time frame